All rise. The court is in session.
Oh.
That's right.
All right.
I've got my gavel. What an excellent synchronized sip that was.
Yeah, pumpkin spice vibes. Damn.
Stevia pumpkin spice.
Yeah, I feel pretty and woke.
Because we're woke.
Yeah.
We don't eat regular sugar. We only eat refined, organic, vegan,
non-GMO, gluten friendly. Yeah.
Communist sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah. 3
cops died to make that. That's how you know it's politically
That's
correct.
how you know it's woke. 3 police stations were defunded.
Yeah.
To create that coffee.
Oh God.
This is an exciting time in MMA, isn't it?
Yeah, it's.
For some reason, this last week, if any of you have been following the news, there's been like a lot of stuff to talk about around MMA. And correct me if I'm wrong. The week prior to this, or was it 2 weeks ago? There was like not a lot.
Yeah.
There was a week there that it was like, it was so dead.
Well, it was post DC Stipe, so we weren't like riding the high we thought we were gonna be riding.
Yeah.
And the O'Malley, so yeah, we had a little bit of a hangover, and we just had a lot of like fun, exciting fight stuff. But you also say that a lot of exciting stuff is happening in MMA this week, but it's like there's NBA playoffs are getting decently deep into them. There's the NFL season starting and all these other sports starting, but it still seems like I could be very biased, definitely, but it still seems like MMA has the centerfold. It kind of seems like they just have the momentum now where it doesn't feel weird to watch MMA in this environment. Like, football's coming back, but it doesn't seem real. There hasn't been preseason. There hasn't been like scrimmages. There hasn't been all these things that we're used to seeing and conditioning us to be like, oh, it's football season.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's fall. It doesn't feel like fall. It doesn't feel like football season. But
it doesn't feel like fall for a variety of reasons.
Definitely.
Like in Florida, here where we are, it does not feel like fall.
Right.
You walk outside and it feels
like
death.
Florida every day.
Yeah,
of the year.
It's the worst ever. But I think basketball is rivaling. Like football,
Really?
I heard somebody say that they watched this BYU versus Navy played a football game. And they said it is not the same without fans.
Way.
Like, not the same.
No way.
Whereas basketball is like fighting, not really, it's more fun with the fans, but
you get that pickup game element,
Yeah.
like intimate feeling. Like, guys are used to playing basketball in that environment.
Exactly.
Where it's like guys are not used to buckling up their football pads and like going to war with nobody around. Whereas like basketball, that's the environment. When you get on a basketball court, it doesn't matter if you're at recess at school, in your neighborhood, or in an NBA game, you're playing basketball.
Yeah. Even the accessories, no one, like, everybody's put on an armband or a headband or an arm sleeve. No one's put on like a neck roll or a face mask visor and be like, let's go, let's run this game. So I think that like anything that is easy to simulate for a fan or for somebody is easy to watch. I still think fighting overall is winning, but like the NBA playoffs are picking up. Like, now we're getting into the conference finals, and now the teams are starting to the stories are starting to hone in, and I think the NBA is doing a lot better job at their imaging around everything that they're doing, because they're getting used to this whole playing in the bubble thing. That the NBA is starting to make that little climb up, but I know exactly what can put all of that to rest, and it is the return of one Nick Diaz.
Stockton, stand up.
Listen to me. If anything can put to bed the debate as to which organization is going to control the end of this year, Nick Diaz returning to the UFC could have... honestly, it could change change the tide for the UFC in that way. Not that they need it, because they're already killing it. Like, they're way ahead of people. They never stopped.
Yeah.
So they're way ahead of people in terms of money and in terms of just having stuff put in the, like
that recency bias.
Exactly.
Like it's the world is a what have you done for me lately kind of world now.
But unfortunately, that's like because of that, the last interesting fight for the casual general fans was DC and Stipe. I know some people that were interested in the Overeem fight. I was, but I'm not a casual fan. I don't just watch it because of the names.
Right.
And then now we have Waterson Hill. No casual fan is interested in that fight. They're gonna watch it because it's a fight night, but none of them are really aware of these two people's career. They probably follow Karate Hottie on Instagram.
I was gonna say the Karate Hottie kind of has that mainstream a little bit.
She does.
She has that a little.
But in terms of interested in the results of the fight, this one's does not have the appeal for a casual fan because they're more interested in fighters that have big names, have won championships, and have been pushed by the UFC. Karate Hottie's one of the more entertaining and endearing fighters in all of fighting.
She's one of the hottest fighters in fighting.
But no, I mean, like
that's it. That's her fan base. Is people just love
you think?
That she's hot. Yeah.
No, I think she's actually endearing.
Yeah.
Like, she's somebody like I get the same vibes when Carolina. That they're very like she seems like a sweet person.
Kovalkiewicz?
Yes.
Okay.
What's her name? The one that got knocked out by who was it that knocked her out? Was it Amanda Nunes?
Oh yeah, she's been knocked out a few times.
Oh, yeah.
She's like a Shevchenko's sister that isn't a savage.
Yeah, nobody wants to see her get knocked out though because she is a sweetheart. Like she seems like the nicest person in the world. And the Karate Hottie is the same way. You know what I'm saying? Like I see.
Yeah, she wanted to be the first mom champ and
exactly.
whatnot. It's like how can you not love that?
Exactly.
How can
That's
you not
what I mean.
That?
She's super likable. She obviously has incredible skills. She's obviously like popular for other reasons, like you mentioned. But I think one of the biggest things about her that I like was attracted to initially in terms of her personality, because the first time I actually ever saw her fight, I wasn't really paying attention to the fight. We were at a party, but I was paying attention to the post-fight interview. That's when I found out about the whole mom champ thing. That's when I found out in the post-fight interview, and I'm like, who is this person? Like everybody seems to like this person. Like people, the crowd's cheering her on. People are like smiling when she's talking, and I'm like, this person has a lot of positivity around her. Not to sound like some fake deep person, but she seems like, because when I watch a post-fight interview, believe it or not, like sometimes I'll look at like the person interviewing and also the people who I'm watching the fight with. And if these people are like totally nauseated by this person and the person interviewing is like not interested in the person, I'm like, I wonder if this person's like a jerk in real life. You know, I think these things. Whereas I don't think that. But in terms of, you can't compare that to a Nick Diaz.
No.
Like the interest level is skyrocketing above.
Yeah. There's Nick coming back is huge for the sport. For those of you who don't know, for those of you who have, and nothing wrong with this, those of you who have come into the sport, in this Rousey McGregor era.
No, dude, no. Which, you're not allowed to listen to the show. Only people who were there, UFC 1.
Yeah. If you weren't wearing your gi live when UFC 1 came on. So basically, Nick Diaz is what gave birth to the role that Nate has kind of filled. That. Other than like Chael Sonnen's bad guy role was filled by like Conor, so to speak, that archetype. But like the true like bad boy of MMA, like that is Nick Diaz. Like that. He's the heel, like the heel of Anderson Silva, the heel of George St. Pierre. Like, who could say that? Like, other than nobody. Nobody could say that. The only person who has anything comparable is Chael Sonnen, how he got John Jones and Anderson Silva fights out of his trash talk. But Nick Diaz is the only one who's done something comparable to that, like.
True.
And now, we see guys like Masvidal and Conor coming into these roles where we have like kind of bad boy type roles in a way. But anyways, Nick Diaz is a massive star for those of you who don't know. And for those of you who do know, I don't need to say this at all. This is so exciting. Those of you who've seen the Nick Diaz versus BJ Penn, if you haven't, You need to. Pause the show. Go watch Nick Diaz, BJ Penn. He broke the Prodigy. Nick Diaz broke the Prodigy in that fight. Just putting it on him with his hands. And BJ Penn has some of the best boxing, some of the best skills ever in MMA overall.
Yeah.
And to be just slapped around like that, Stockton slapped around the ring and just battered, bruised, and gotten out of there, it's like, wow.
That pressure of constant forward movement. And
that triathlete pressure.
Just infinite cardio, infinite defiance. Like, nothing you do is going to make me stop coming forward. But not like a zombie, like I don't think of it the same way as I think of other fighters. I mean, I don't know. I maybe it does have a little zombie nature to it, but I love the Diaz brothers, particularly Nick, because of his willingness to always engage in the fight, and his the Anderson Silva fight is one of the funniest fights you'll ever watch, because the first round is just Nick trying to get Anderson to do something, and Anderson's trying to stay patient, understanding that his best work against Nick would be countering Nick. But at the same time, there's pressure because Nick is playing it so well, and he's going over so well with the fans by toying with Anderson, that it makes Anderson feel like he kind of has to do something. Otherwise, he's going to be looked at, as the wrong one.
Yeah.
And so go watch that fight too, because that's just a fun spectacle. And I think that was Nick's last fight. Was Anderson.
Yeah.
So the last fight he had was against Anderson Silva. When Anderson Silva was still just coming off that injury, Anderson ended up winning that fight. It was his first win back.
Mm-hmm.
And Anderson looked pretty good. I mean, he was moving. He was still young enough to where that was a significant fight. And Nick was fighting him very well. Nick looked great. And that was at a weight class higher than they're saying he's going to fight now.
Yeah.
Which obviously brings up one very, climactic, tectonic plate shifting matchup.
The real shifting of the guard. This it shifts the landscape. We now have this man inserted into the division that it's like, all right, all those big fun matchups we had going on, that idea, we were just talking last week of these little, like a tournament it seems like they have set at 170 for the next title shot and whatnot. But it's like, hold the phone. Nick Diaz steps in and he gets the right matchup and he gets put over the right way. He's jumping the line.
Well, that's what I was volleying to you. There's one
match. There's one matchup. And it's like that.
See, you guys thought you were gonna get McGregor Diaz, the trilogy, but you were wrong. What they meant was
his big brother's pulling up on his bike around the block.
You're getting McGregor Diaz with a capital Diaz, the original Diaz. It's gonna be Conor and Nick.
Nick Diaz.
It's time for a prediction on the show. That fight is going to last 5 rounds.
Wow.
Nick Diaz is going to submit him.
But how does it last 5 rounds?
It's going to last 5 rounds, and he's going to get the sub. It's going to be the first...
It's going to last 4 rounds and change?
No, it's going to last 5 rounds, and he's going to get the sub.
Post-fight?
Or pre-fight. I don't know. Listen, it's that kind of fight. You never know what could happen. So somehow, this fight is going to go to a decision, but Nick Diaz is going to win by submission victory.
That is... You
crazy.
Heard it here first.
You've never seen that before.
Yeah.
No. He makes that happen.
Honestly, it wasn't by submission, but him and his team did get a TKO victory post-fight before when they jumped... Mayhem, right? It was Mayhem. They jumped in the cage in Strikeforce. I don't know if you remember the melee. Nick Diaz wins a fight, and Strikeforce, Strikeforce. He wins a fight in Strikeforce when Strikeforce and the UFC were like rivaling each other, and his team's in the cage. His brother, who's the other high-level guy? Jake Shields.
Jake
Shields. Jake Shields, Nick, Nate, all of them, they're in the cage. and he had just beaten somebody, and like Mayhem Miller comes into the ring to like cut a promo, and Nick Diaz is not having it, and he like slaps him, and then a full out melee breaks out, and it gets to the point where they're jumping Mayhem Miller and stomping on his body in the cage on live TV. Like, what the Diaz brothers were 10 years ago would be the biggest thing in all of sports right now if MMA was where it is today then. Like, it was so much bigger than Conor throwing a dolly. Like, I mean, I guess comparable. But them jumping him in the cage and, like, the backstage beefs they would have. There's a video of them in the crowd one time getting in an altercation with Khabib and Nick throwing a drink at Khabib.
Yes.
So it's
they fought. Their crews fought. There's a video out there of Nate and Nick and their group and Khabib and his group actually having a brawl at this. It looked like they were at a casino or a hotel or something like that. And you see Khabib trying to get through to people. You see Nate, I think, throw a punch or throw something. But they were actually, at one point they went after it. And then that's when Nate said that he already slapped Khabib once. So he said, I already won that fight.
That's why he said to Leon, he said, go run and hide like Kebab.
Kebab.
He said that this week to Leon Edwards.
I love him so much. But there's news surrounding Nate Diaz. Maybe you don't know. Did we talk about this? They rebooked they're doing the BMF fight.
Yes.
It's official.
It's official.
They're doing it. They just are waiting for everybody to agree, but they're probably going to agree. They're probably throwing all sorts of money at them.
Oh, yeah. Those two are definitely taking the fight. Nothing else makes really more sense for them than a Conor fight for either.
Now, here's the thing, though. This is perfect for everybody involved.
Because we get Conor and Nick as the main event.
I think we should get Conor and Nick. Yeah, you should make that. No, you can't make that the main event.
They each need their standalone. I don't think they're going to fight for the BMF title again.
Yeah, it's a rematch. It's a BMF rematch.
Did he? Is that what Dana's words were?
Well, that's what they're marketing it as.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. You don't think...
I don't feel like you can give two guys you can't build the same BMF hype on two guys who are coming off losses. It's like, how's the baddest motherfucker coming off a loss?
Well, because the way they lost... Like, who's coming off? Well,
Masvidal just got beat.
Nate's coming off a loss to the BMF, and then Jorge was a BMF for taking that fight, so you can easily angle that way.
Yeah, I see. But I definitely am not as not purist, to say that they aren't BMF, whatever. You know, like
as a sportsman, a part of you is like that. That's not dominance. Like BMF should be associated with dominance. But if they find a way,
who can't be touched.
Yeah, but if they find a way, if that were the case, then Khabib is the BMF. But if they find a way to market it as just the lifestyle you live instead of the fighting performance,
just the energy.
They find a way to do that because they didn't really do that nearly as much in the first fight. They were talking more about the recent accomplishments of them, and then Nate taking fights on short notice against Conor. But if they just talk about their backgrounds a little more and maybe talk about other stuff going on around them more recently, and even maybe dabble in some controversial elements of their stories, things that they normally wouldn't put their stamp of approval on, like Nate's, lighting up some weed, like when the camera's on him, like stuff like that. If they did that type of stuff, I think everybody will kind of forget that they're both coming off losses. But you got to make that the main event because it did so well as a main event.
Definitely. Oh, for sure. That's a huge fight. Just because we have two of the biggest stars in the sport, But I think, you could just let that fight play out from that. You don't have to put the belt on the line again. I think it would be better if you brought the BMF out for like the winner of this versus Conor or something, and they're like, all right, we're putting the belt on the line again or something.
Well, think about it. That's what I was saying. This is good for everybody involved. Jorge wins, he gets a Conor or a Nick fight, or a title fight, or a Colby fight. Everything, literally, a win.
Masvidal's made it clear in the past when he held out on the Masvidal fight and they gave it to Burns that he's just in this for the money. He'll take a Conor or somebody like that over a title shot any day of the week.
True.
He does not care.
True.
You know, so it's
if the money's the same, he'll go fight for the title, but the money is what it's about.
Right.
Good for him. Nate wins, and now he's like 1 win away. You know, he can go and get a Conor trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
Or he can fight in the division at a higher level. He can go fight a Colby
Mm-hmm.
or a Woodley. Who knows who's going to win that fight now that Woodley's kind of changing his whole mentality. Conor wins. Again, he gets a Masvidal fight. If him and Nick actually fight, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
He wins. He gets a Masvidal, a Diaz fight, huge cash grab, and a win against Nick Diaz at 170. You can't make. He also will fight somebody at 170. Nick wins, and that's also incredible because then you have the angle of Jorge. If Jorge wins, so all of them have like this little 4-man gauntlet could literally push each of them very far.
Let's relax here. Let's downshift.
Relax.
Let's downshift one. So we have to. We can't just run away with this tournament here because look, we already got carried away and thought 2020 was the season of Conor McGregor. So we can't go just like summoning Conor and expecting him to come save the day. And you know, I'm here to say this, that it's not the only option. There are some other great matchups I think that Nick could step into. And let me offer you this, because I think that this could also set up to play into a BMF tournament type scenario, which is Nick Diaz versus Mike Perry.
Ooh.
Oh.
That's a good fight.
That is fire.
Wow.
That is fire.
That is
and you don't just send Nick
fire.
back after 5-6 years off and throw him to a sniper. You throw him in there, let him get hit, let him see how he deals with a fight, which you know Mike Perry's going to bring.
Oh my gosh, the trash talk between those two is
Right.
going to be incredible.
And you give them that.
And Mike Perry just got a good victory.
Yeah, and the winner gets Conor. It makes sense. It makes sense.
It does make sense.
So it's like, I don't know. I don't think Conor's the only thing, and I don't think we need to marry Nick to Conor right away, because then I think it might steal the trilogy fight of Conor and Nate. You know, I don't think the Diaz brothers would agree to it, because I feel like they think that is Nate and Conor's thing that is still unfinished business. You know, so I don't think they're going to pull the big brother card just yet, because it's still one apiece. You know, so I think that...
But if Nate loses, then Conor calls Nick out in the octagon.
Oh, yeah.
Yo, hold on. Here's my official prediction. Conor and Nate are going to fight in October. Late October.
Conor and Nate?
Yes.
Nate's already booked.
I understand this.
Oh, you think he's comes out now? You think he gets the double booking treatment, huh?
Correct. So he's going to lose to Masvidal, but because Dana White hates him and loves Conor, he's going to book the fight the week after. Nate is going to lose a controversial decision, and Conor's going to call out Nick, who will then fight him that night and win by submission after 5 rounds. What's next on our dossier of information? Just saying, when all this happens, don't say I didn't tell you.
Yeah.
Say it.
So I think you have a problem. I want to help you. You know, I think...
I don't know if I need to be helped. I think that...
Is it meth again?
No, I think everything I said was accurate. I think everything I said is something that can plausibly happen.
I think you're trying to build your utopia again, and you need to see your therapist. With that being said...
Had to bring that up.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That was cold. This is not
I told you that in confidence.
Yeah, that was... Well, I mean, we're just with our disciples.
Oh, okay, then that's fine.
Yeah, this is... Yeah. So, moving on. where does Leon Edwards not fit into all this? Because apparently he just does not fit into the welterweight division.
I don't think he wants to fit.
Yeah, it's almost painful because I see like everybody giving him advice of just fight. You know, when I see his frustration, you know, it makes sense when you are booked for Woodley, when you're in the talks of getting the title shot, whatever, you know, but it just seems hard to give him the straight up benefit of the doubt when you've seen guys like Tony Ferguson.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, it's tough because he's
not the only person that's been snubbed of chances, and then the other guys still took fights. Imagine if Tony would have said, like, well, he couldn't have said it because, well, actually, he could have turned down Gaethje, couldn't he have?
Tony, yeah, he definitely could have turned down Gaethje.
And he didn't. Think about that. He was about to get...
Because he took Gaethje on a few weeks' notice.
He knows that, like, if he doesn't take Gaethje, he's just going to wait around for Khabib.
Yeah.
Not have to fight, and yet he took the Gaethje fight.
Yeah.
So I don't really... Look, Usman had to wait a while, didn't he? Usman was the backup fighter for some, like, where everybody was like, watch out for Usman. Usman's coming for Woodley, but they never gave him the fight, and he was always, like, the guy who would replace the guy, always making weight. Like, that's normal. And Leon Edwards hasn't...
That was different, though, because Usman is not entertaining at all.
No.
Like, his style is dominant, yes, and entertaining to somebody who appreciates it. But to the casual, to Dana White trying to sell pay-per-views, it's not like, let's get this guy to be champ as soon as possible. Whereas, like, Darren Till beats Cowboy, and you're like, all right, let's get this guy over as soon as possible and get him set up for a title shot. He's got the accent, different culture behind him, whatever. But that brings us back to Leon, who also beat Cowboy recently, and many people don't remember, like, many people just aren't familiar with, you know, many people, the light hasn't been shined on his career, really.
It's weird, though, because he is an interesting person, right?
Right, and he has the skills, he's got the backstory with Masvidal, you know.
Masvidal's just ignoring him.
Exactly.
He's so big brother playing him, or, you know, he's so, like, he's just treating him like he doesn't exist.
Yeah.
How pissed off is Leon Edwards?
Oh, my God. So salty. Salty.
But then at the same time, the only thing you could do is go out, fight, be spectacular, and force us to pay attention to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I have no problem. I want to see him fight.
Yeah.
Like, fight. I don't like the guys who, like, take super long breaks in between fights and just talk about
all the wrongdoings of their matchmaking
and what they're going to do to everybody when they fight.
Right.
Just do it. Like, Woodley had a little bit of that going on in him. Where he was talking, but I'm like, and now he's doing it again. Now he's saying...
Yeah, he's doing it again.
Now he's saying he's going to come out and let the hands go. And here's the thing. When I read that, I fully expected to watch him come out and do the exact same thing he's done the last two fights.
Yeah.
Just because
Put his right foot against the cage and just wait to throw an overhand that everybody in the arena knows is coming.
Literally, everybody.
Literally, not a single... like. He, last fight, shows him training Muay Thai and stuff like that. Like, I'm going to be a totally different fighter. Comes out, backs up against the cage, waits to throw an overhand, gets smashed. You know, it's like, I don't see that going any different for him. But I don't see Leon as that guy. Leon is like a true fighter. Yeah. He's got true skills, like elite striking.
Leon Jorge fight would be great.
Great. It would be amazing. I think that Leon, I believe, is... This might sound crazy, but outside of like Burns, due to Burns' grappling pedigree, I think Leon is possibly the most formidable challenger for Usman at the current time, mostly because he has that prior loss to Usman. Most people don't know Leon Edwards' last loss was to Usman in like 2016. So this impressive 8-fight run in the UFC Leon Edwards has been on was started with him losing to Usman. You know, similar to like a Max Holloway type situation where your last loss is to like the champ or the man, you know, and it's like then you go on this run that kind of doesn't get appreciated until finally it reminds me of that. But yeah, it's just weird. And at the end of the day, it's hard to feel too bad for him because he's not fighting, but, you know, at the same time, it just brings me back to, like, well, he was supposed to fight Woodley a few months ago, so you can't really blame him because that fight was, like, robbed from him, like, weeks before it happened.
Right.
You know, like, he had already just put a fight camp in a few months ago, so, like, what's to make him do that again when COVID is still a thing, you know, when he just did a full fight camp for nothing. So, you know, it's hard to just be like, fight.
I just don't want him to end up like Corey Anderson, where you complain and complain and complain.
Yeah,
and complain, and
I don't see that.
And then you fight a contender like that would get you the Jones fight after winning, and you get knocked out in a minute. So I just don't want to see Leon Edwards. No offense to Corey Anderson, because I think he's a beast. I wish he would have stayed in the UFC, man.
I do too, but I'm happy for him. I think he can go be a champ, and I think we saw the best of Corey Anderson in the UFC already. I think we saw his prime performances and what he had waiting for him in a John fight or any other high-level fights. We're just going to expose him for what he is, you know, which is a great martial artist and fighter, but not a supreme elite athlete. And, you know, and nothing against Corey. He's a great guy. It appears to be, you know, he appears to be super down to earth, whatever.
And you know, at the end of the day, fighting is like the only sport where you could just change your narrative overnight. You could be look at Jorge Masvidal. He went from guy that is the jobber, guy that's thrown to the guys who are trying to put over, to the show. Yeah. Like in the No Conor year. The show. Like, this is the Jorge Masvidal year.
This is interesting, though, because it's not like the NBA where you see a guy like Carmelo or something can have this resurgence in his career because he has a different role. You know, it's not like we need you to be the guy. You know, like you're just here to bring a little energy and add what you can at this point in your career. There really isn't that in MMA because it's like, go get in the cage with that guy and we'll see who wins at the end. You know, it's not like,
you have to
all right, you hop in for a few minutes, give us what you can. No. There's none of that. So, like, if you're not at that elite level in the UFC, it's hard to stick around, you know? And unless you're one of these guys who's a former champ or something, who's like a gatekeeper type, you know, but Corey Anderson didn't want to be that, you know? And I don't want to, you know, we don't necessarily need to start a Corey Anderson segment right now. But, yeah, Leon, please just fight, man. Yeah, I hate to be that guy because as a fighter, I know what it's like for people to be like, oh, when are you fighting? When are you fighting? When are you fighting? And especially when there's like something real in reality that is like preventing you from fighting. It's like, it seems like people don't care about your actual issues or you, and they just want you to fight. And it's like, no, that's not what it's about. They just love to see you do what you do, you know? So it's kind of like, come on, Leon. Like, everybody just loves to see you do what you do. Stop being bitter at the world. Like, we just want to see a Leon Edwards fight. And, you know, I just brought up Mike Perry a minute ago. Like, what about Leon and Mike Perry? What about
a great fight?
What, like, I know it's not a good ranking fight for him, but he just needs something to put him over. He just needs that little...
Based on what I saw against Mickey Gall, Mike Perry is a good fight for anyone.
Anybody. Oh.
Brawler, very technical, and good on the ground.
And just that energy he brings, he's got, you know, more than a puncher's chance against anybody, Mike Perry.
I loved that fight. Like, and part of me was a little bit annoyed by some of the Mike Perry imaging leading up to the fight, you know, some of the promotion. At the end of the day, you can't fault a guy for making his own decisions in life. But there was something that reeked a little bit of like delusion in the way he was talking about everything. But when I saw him fight, I realized, you know, I think there's a part of this guy who just wanted to go out there and like be on his own. And it worked. He went out there and just said, let me just take away voices in my head, like in terms of coaching. And go out there and be my own, like a fighter. Just go out there and do it myself. He did it against a guy who I consider to be a formidable opponent. Not dominant, not like one of the best in the UFC, but formidable. A dangerous guy on the ground, but not really great at stand-up. You know, just kind of has
legit skills, though. He can offer legit threats.
Not like a guy, he wasn't just fighting a guy who's going to lay down. He was fighting a guy who has already won in the UFC and has a skill set and has finished people. And he went out there and looked super impressive and looked poised and looked like he had good cardio. Like, he looked really good, and I really can't wait to see what team he decides to join and what division he goes through and who he decides to fight next. I'm very interested in him. And Mike, I'm more interested in Mike Perry and Nick Diaz than Leon, because I feel like that's a clash of two guys who understand each other. But I feel like it won't be a respectful interaction because Mike Perry's just ignorant enough to get under Nick's skin. Like, Mike Perry's gonna talk respectfully about Nick, but he's also gonna say something.
Well, Perry said it in the past that he really respects and whatnot the Diaz brothers. So it would definitely be for show.
But he's gonna say something.
Oh, for sure. It's for show.
But Nick's not.
He had his girlfriend in his corner for show. Mike Perry's a showman.
But Nick's not gonna know that. He's not gonna say this is for show. He's gonna be bothered by what he says.
Yeah. Because the Diaz brothers are on the spectrum.
What I meant was they operate by different rules. Not that they're autistic.
Alex. That's what it is. It's not the R word. It's different. Oh gosh.
We wouldn't last a second on Spotify. You hearing about that? Joe's getting censored on Spotify.
They didn't put a bunch of his episodes up. Yeah.
I'm shocked.
Well, I think that's them kind of just showing, with pretense, look, we don't sign off on everything Joe says. We're gonna let him say whatever he wants to say from here on out. Is that Joe's beliefs do not reflect ours, so they just canceled Eddie Bravo. The one that really got me though, I don't know if you caught this. Out of all the episodes that got held off, a lot of them made sense. Chris D'Elia, Alex Jones, Milo Yiannopoulos or whatever, a bunch of people who have really been silenced from, who have been that cancel culture has really gotten a hold of. But one, it shows that Spotify is pro-cancel culture by also canceling those people and reaffirming the cancellation of Alex Jones and Chris D'Elia. But they're supposedly going to let Joe do and say whatever he wants moving forward. With that being said, did you see his first episode in the new studio last night?
No, but I saw the still image, and it looked like he was in a spaceship going to Mars.
It looks terrible.
Really?
I hate the camera angles. It's so close up on them that you can't get, the vibe of the room. That's part of Joe, is to see, what drink he's cracking open, or, if they're smoking a cigar or a joint or a blunt, but you can't get that. You can't get that perspective. So it's
pull up the video. I didn't watch the video.
There was one moment where they zoomed out on the room, and it was kind of like the old camera angles, and it was oh, this is perfect here. But they're just so close in that you can't even see their hands or anything.
What?
So it's
that's awful.
It kills the vibe of the JRE, but I mean, I'm sure Joe will bounce back. He's no.
Jamie, pull that up really quick.
So this is that view. You can see the whole ride. He's got the statue in the back. It's a cool studio setup.
They don't have space in there?
No, it's this tunnel thing. I don't know if you saw the picture he originally posted on Instagram teasing it, but it looked way different. But they drywalled it in and added all this stuff, and it looks weird.
Does that mean we're not going to be able to listen to Joe Rogan anymore?
I think, because I hate the new setup, and I'm not one to just hate on something because it's new, but
Joe, we've been rocking with you, man, and you've disappointed us greatly.
Yeah,
there's no forgiveness for this.
No forgiveness. I've been rocking with Joe.
Guess you'll just be listening to the shows now.
Yeah, come on, Joe. But I did read the comments, and I never read comments, but I was all right, let me see if I'm the only one who's emotional about this. I went to the comments, and so many people echoed the same thing, or camera angles are too close, this, that, and the other. And a lot of people, I didn't listen to the whole podcast yet, were saying that Joe sounded drunk and that he just interrupted the guy the whole time. But who cares?
Remember when Neil deGrasse Tyson was on there, and he could not stop interrupting Joe, and Joe was getting so mad? That guy, Neil deGrasse Tyson, is so pretentious.
Yeah.
But that's besides the point.
Yeah.
Anyway, what were we talking about?
MMA or something?
Oh, no, Joe, the cancel thing. You were saying there was one episode, but you didn't say which one.
Hicks and Gracie.
What?
They didn't put the Hicks and Gracie episode up. It's out of everybody to cancel, what is Spotify anti-jiu-jitsu? Like,
Let me find out. Let me find out. You'll see me at Spotify's headquarters.
Yeah. We're about to start a political movement right now.
If there's one person on Earth, like it's not Henzo.
No.
Like, I'd understand if it was Henzo.
Like a Henner episode, it's like, all right.
Henzo says some things, like Henner says some things, even though they shouldn't be canceled either. Those are legends.
Yeah.
Those are goats. But Hicks and Gracie?
Yeah. And of like all people. Like,
oh, wait. Eddie Bravo was on that episode. They don't like Eddie Bravo.
Wow.
They don't like
Eddie Bravo is right.
He ruined.
Does that not give Eddie Bravo all the legitimacy he needs?
For the flat earth theory.
That Spotify is canceling him. Like
no, but also
for the flat earth.
This kind of confirms the earth is flat.
Oh,
right?
100%.
But yeah, Eddie Bravo was on that episode. Why would you cancel the Hicks and Gracie episode?
When Eddie Bravo hasn't even been canceled yet by cancel culture. Spotify just started the wave on canceling Eddie Bravo.
And all Hicks and Gracie, and Eddie Bravo talked about was jiu-jitsu.
And like the rise of jiu-jitsu, basically.
They just saw Eddie Bravo and profiled him. He's probably talking about aliens. Let's cancel this. Whoever runs Spotify is probably like a 32-year-old dude.
Yeah.
Like one of those guys, you know the guy I'm talking about. We can't say it because it's messed up and everybody's
libtard.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. There's a certain profile of person that gets offended at what people say.
Well, honestly, no. I'm trying to think of who would be the one to cancel Eddie Bravo, though.
It would be somebody who went to.
Because if you're like a liberal, you would be pro Eddie Bravo.
No, because.
He has taken a turn now that he has kids. Trump. He's like Christian and shit.
No, he likes Trump. Eddie Bravo likes Trump.
Yeah, and he's recently converted to Christianity.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Word?
Yeah.
Nah. Really?
He put his kids into private school with Christian beliefs, and he's become conservative and Christian.
Okay, Eddie Bravo.
But still a conspiracy theorist and thinks that God made a flat earth.
Okay, hold on, but we're getting somewhere. Hold on, we're taking steps forward though. Like we're taking steps forward. Eventually, I think the your beliefs on the earth are not required. The
earth could flatten out.
Yeah, exactly.
It
happens in jiu-jitsu.
We could flatten the curve.
Wow.
That's what the masks are for. Oh my god.
No,
it all comes out, folks.
But Eddie Bravo.
Hope you got your tinfoil hats on.
Yeah, listen, I know we can't say it, but there's a certain profile because here's the thing, it's also on the other side. There's those people that get offended if you say anything negative about America, and I imagine all of them have a goatee.
Yeah.
That's if I'm just being honest, I imagine all of them have a specific type of goatee, like the type of goatee that makes their face look bigger because the goatee is too small.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then there's a group of people who get offended by every joke. It's the people that don't find anything funny, that find everything offensive. If you picture one, I know this is schematic. I know we're being so stereotypical. But when you imagine that person, you think of a person. Like you have an image in your head of them, and I'm pretty sure it's the same person. Pretty sure it's the identical
I get
image.
two-sided. Because there's the skeptics on both sides now. You have your right-wing skeptics and your left-wing skeptics.
People who can't take a joke, though. Like people who you say something that is
nowadays, funny. I feel like that is everybody.
It is.
That is everybody.
It feels like every time you make a joke, you have to qualify that you're not a terrible person.
Yeah.
When really nobody has ever had to do that. Jokes were always jokes. They were made in jest.
That's the point.
Yeah.
It's like
the point is I don't actually think this. It's
right.
And even if I think part of it, I certainly don't accept all of it. This is why I'm saying it like this.
There are memes surrounding 9/11 for crying out loud.
And that's the thing. People laugh at memes, right? They laugh at memes because they don't have the courage to say what the meme says.
Yeah.
They rely on the courage of another to make a joke. But our culture claims to be all woke and all empathetic. We're the meanest culture on earth. Somebody goes through a struggle, and all we do is make... Will Smith was crying on television because his wife was admitting to cheating on him. And the first thing we did was make a meme of his face. Jordan was crying.
They've been in an open relationship for 10 years, so Will brought that on himself.
Jordan was facts. Jordan was crying at his Hall of Fame induction. Did anybody say, what a beautiful moment?
At Kobe's funeral, Jordan said at the very end in his closing statements, and he goes, and I know I'm about to make another meme for you all. Like, he knows that him crying at Kobe Bryant's funeral needs to be post-stated with, I already know this is a meme.
Yeah, meme has become the way that we...
passive-aggressive.
Passive-aggressively and... oh my gosh, I can't believe... Anonymously.
Yes, exactly. It's a way to put the joke out there without being attached to your body.
Now, I like the courage of some that have the balls to express their joke and be their vile selves in public.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But here's the thing, like...
I'll make the autism joke, you know?
Exactly.
I'm not autism hater, so I can make that joke in peace. Right. You know, but when here's
the thing, if you offend someone, right, and they tell you that you've offended them, and you don't apologize, you're just a jerk.
Yeah.
Like, that's different. But if someone gets offended on another person's behalf, that's just weird.
For sure.
That's just, oh my gosh, could you say that about them? Don't you,
right.
Wait, are you actually bothered, or are you just judging me?
Right.
Are you just passing judgment because you think you're better? A perfect example of this mean, hypocritical culture we live in is Chadwick Boseman. R.I.P. to the Black Panther. But when he came out and he looked super skinny and his face was sunk in, I remember the comment. I was watching that live video. I remember the comments calling him a crackhead. And I remember the memes that were put out on Chadwick saying, this mother effer is tired of life or whatever. Not knowing he was literally going through cancer.
Yeah.
Like, our culture needs to shut up about being woke and being all, enlightened. None of us are. You're all hypocritical.
We're like the... everybody is so mean but has no ability to do evil. You know, that saying, like, I'd rather be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war?
Yeah.
We're living through a war right now, but everybody's a gardener.
Yeah.
Like, none of these people with all these crazy opinions and whatnot have the ability to, like, stand for what they believe in.
No.
So they just have, like, these beliefs that are all over the place that, like, I don't know. We're living through such weird times, like...
What they have is loud, obnoxious confidence.
Yeah.
With not a hope to back it up with any action.
Yeah.
And not just action that operationalizes their confidence.
Maybe it's the inability to back it up that has, like, resulted in, insecurity that makes people, like, align with these victimized, parties.
Well, let's do a little case study. If someone cuts you off or someone says something to you at a bar, what is your immediate inclination to respond? After you smash their face. No,
yeah.
What is your inclination to respond if someone says something slick to you at a bar? You who are now a seasoned fighter.
Yeah, I'm a real, like, coy guy. Like, I'm gonna smile in your face until, like, it comes to that point. Because I know if it comes to that point, I'm okay. So it's
that
like... That
person might not be.
Right. That kind of... They call it, like, the tiger's grin or something for, like, in the gun world. Like, people who have a gun, who carry a gun on them, like, when somebody gets violent, they can just, like, smirk and have that confidence. They know they don't have to entertain this engagement because they have, like, the great equalizer, meaning, like, if this guy does get, like, out of hand and try and attack my well-being, like, this is all going to end.
See,
but
you have the power to de-escalate a fight.
Right. Which is
Other
real.
people do not. Other people have no control over what happens.
And those are the gardeners in the war,
Correct.
whereas I'm the warrior in the garden. I've created a garden that I tend to, which is my life,
You're like
which
Thanos.
is a peaceful environment, But, yeah, I would never have to fight anybody. But I'm obsessed with fighting, So it's
you
like,
might be like, I might want to practice my, like, overhand on this guy. It's like, let's see how my teep is doing.
Yeah.
No, but it's interesting though, like...
Just practice feints on somebody, like, putting groceries in the bag. Don't even hit anybody, just feints.
Oh, okay, that's how he responds?
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I think if I could describe today's generation of people, or the people that I see, it's people who have never had to or never had the reality of the possibility of a fight in their life. They've never been faced with the reality of their words being consequential toward violence. They've never had to interact with people where if you spoke a certain way, you would get punched in the face.
Right.
Everybody they've talked to has been an echo chamber of cowardice.
Right.
An echo chamber of passive aggression.
Right.
Never telling them their aggressive feelings towards them.
Putting out such strong opinions on social media that are so strong that it would literally like create a fight almost if you were to say that in like the wrong environment. So it's like people are marrying these thoughts that really are rooted in violence. You know, like these picking a team is really rooted in violence. You know, like religion is rooted in violence. Like anything that is team based is rooted in violence. Like when you pick sides, it's like it's division at the end of the day. And these people are trying to like divide and like conquer for their like party, it seems, but they don't realize like when you say that my party is the best and this is what rules the world, conquering comes after that, which is violent. You know, that's like a lot of people don't realize that, you know, the great conquerors of the world, Mike Tyson and Joe were just talking about this, the conquerors of the world, people give them all this credit, but they were rapers and pillagers. That's what a conqueror is, you know? So it's like these people online are having like these conqueror type mentalities for their class or their oppressed people that they're trying to gain respect for. But it's like, you don't realize when you're saying this group is better than that group or this group deserves to be kings or this or that. It's like, you guys don't realize that if what your words were saying were actually manifested, it would result in taking from others or putting down others, which would result in conflict. Like, these people don't realize what their words are actually rooted in. It's like a delusional state that people have gotten to where we're just so disconnected from reality. Like, we're not tribal people that, you know, if we disrupt our neighbors, they're going to come with spears and torches.
Everybody uses fighting words.
Yes.
But nobody is ready to actually fight.
Right.
If need be.
Right.
And that's why...
Brings us back to Leon Edwards.
Exactly. Right back to the welterweight division.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I am kind of fatigued from this culture of hypocritical wokeness. Like, people are so short. I was just reading something today about China. And it's like, bro, if anybody was really woke, they would not be okay with the NBA and LeBron James having company. Even Dwayne Wade, who I love dearly, who works with China for his brand. Like, you guys would not be okay with that if you cared even an ounce about human beings in China. But it's far away, so who cares about that? We only care about what's happening here. You know, so don't think that you're not egocentric as well. Everybody's ethnocentric. Everybody cares about themselves and their environment more than others. So don't pass yourself off as some superior moral creature looking down on all your subjects who are less evolved because they don't act like they don't find things funny.
Yeah, I think... Yeah, not to get off track, but I think Dwayne Wade is different because he doesn't just get stuff like manufactured in China and bring it back to the States. Like, he really has a Chinese-based brand, and he has a relationship with a Chinese organization, and he's partnered with the China. And I don't think China is bad and Chinese people are bad.
No,
I think the things you're saying are like...
I'm talking about the Chinese government.
And manipulating, like, humans... in the, like, manufacturing of goods, like...
No, I'm talking about the Chinese government, like, putting people in prison. Like, and you can also talk about that if there is some sweatshop things going on. I'm talking about...
I thought that's what you were referring to.
No, I'm talking about communist China.
Okay.
I'm talking about, like, doing business with Cuba, where, like, the difference is China has kind of a free market economy, and so it's one of those things where you can do business there because... You know, technically it's a free market, but there's still human rights violations. It's like, if you care about human rights, how could you do business in China? So
yeah, but at the end of the day, if you don't bridge that gap, how do you create the opportunity for those Chinese people to be freed from that?
They literally don't bridge the gap. They literally just don't talk about it. They could care less. Like, I'm not gonna lie, bro. When the Hong Kong protests were going on,
because they've grown up in communism.
No, I'm not talking about Chinese. I'm talking about the NBA players. Like, when they asked LeBron about the Hong Kong protests, he was like, I don't know anything about that. He just totally dismissed it. Like, bro, like, people were dying. Like, you're over here like if somebody, because the reason I know this to be true is because the way communism works and the way that governments control the economy and control businesses, like, a rich communist country is far more dangerous than a poor one. Because everybody's eating, but they still have no rights to actually be themselves. And so the losses are far greater. If you're in a poor country, a communist country like in Cuba, what do you have to lose? You already are broke. You already have to sell bottle caps on the street, you know what I'm saying, to make ends meet. Your mom is already like struggling with drug addiction, and you're already raising your younger siblings at 12 years old. So what is it to you to fight against this government, or take the other approach where you just are apathetic and could care less?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're closer to your freedoms without than with. Because when you have it all, or when you have a good, good financial stability, you don't care if you don't have the freedom to be yourself, right? Because you have it. But the day you decide to, you lose far more. So I just think it's hypocritical. I'm not giving my political analysis on what the NBA should do. Wow, this is an MMA podcast. I'm not giving my political analysis on what the NBA should do in China or what anybody should do in China. I'm not about to say that because I don't know enough about procedure. I'm just saying everybody's a hypocrite. That's my point. Everybody's a hypocrite. Don't talk to other people like you are a moral absolutist. You're not. You don't apply your morals everywhere. You apply it selectively. You apply it where it's easiest. And with that,
fuck Donald Trump!
We seamlessly segue into this week's UFC fight card.
Yes. Which we touched on the main event a little bit. I don't think we have a ton to talk about there. We have a fun, exciting matchup between Michelle Waterson and Angelina Hill. Angelina Hill, I just saw something on a good note coming out of all this turmoil, is going to be the first black woman headlining a UFC card.
Okay. So
that's pretty dope. Good for her. And
dope.
So that's, there's a little elements of story to the main event, but it just recently got bumped up to main. I forget what fight fell out. Somebody got COVID and they had to reschedule.
Yep.
Anyways, the main event is going to be fireworks. It's going to be high pace. Both of them have, very fun, exciting strikes, and at that women, both of them are dogs, so they're probably going to be in there for the full whatever it is. I don't know if it's 5 rounds.
This one, bro.
Neither do I, but I know we're going to see a million techniques come out, and we're going to see a bunch of shit that men can't do.
If you like fighting, like you actually like watching fighting.
Yeah.
You'll love this.
This is a fight. Yeah, this is a fight. This is one of those marquee women's fights that can show you what is possible with women's MMA. For modern era, obviously it's evolving, so what's possible today isn't going to be true in 10 years. More will be unlocked.
We'll all be levitating by then.
Yeah. But yeah, the kicking game, and they're both well-rounded fighters. I think this is going to be a great matchup. But yeah, that brings me to, we have Billy Q and Matt Frivola, both out of Gracie, Tampa South.
Yes. Local guys.
Yeah, and that's pretty dope to have.
Shout out to those boys.
Yeah.
Good luck to both.
Couple guys out of the 813. I know Billy's not from Florida. I don't know where Matt's from. I don't really know him. I've met Billy a few times. Just saw him a couple weeks ago.
Really good in his last couple fights.
Yeah, he's looked.
He's a beast.
Ever since he came back from his ACL, when I met him, he was actually rehabbing from his ACL, and then took a boxing fight, and then got back a couple regional wins, and then got his UFC contract. But the first time I met Billy was before I even made my amateur debut, and I went over there to cross train with with their amateur team, and he leads their amateur team. He's the coach. So it was. I've known him for a few years. Good dude.
Nice.
So skilled. He's just got his black belt in jiu-jitsu. So yeah, he's legit everywhere. He's I'd say the only thing I know he works a lot of his wrestling over there. They have some good wrestlers, but it's going to be interesting to see once we get him matched up against the high-level wrestler at 155. He still has questions to answer in the UFC, which is really exciting. That's the most fun part. The most fun part of even like Conor McGregor, not, we have to see what Billy Q is going to turn into in the fight game.
But I like his jiu-jitsu so much. I feel like that could equalize a lot of whatever the wrestling deficiencies are. Like, I feel like he could submit a lot of people off his back.
Yeah, but we're still on the front end of that, so we still get all these questions. Right. That we still, we get to see the whole movie pretty much play out, or the climax of the movie is like building right now. He's who'd he beat? Decently known guy in his last fight, the one where they made the meme where the dude was walking away from him and Billy like hit him at the end of the bell.
You talking about the redhead dude?
Yeah, that guy Spike or some shit like
Spike
Carlisle. Spike Carlisle, I want to say.
Is that his name?
Something weird like that.
What a great name.
Yeah.
If that's his name, excellent name.
Yeah.
Spike
Carlisle. And if it's not your name, change that shit.
It should be your name.
Yeah.
So wait, you didn't want to continue talking about the Chinese government? And
business? Anyways, back to the Chinese government. Matt Frivola fought Lando Venata, who is also a local guy. I believe they went to a draw or something. But Matt has had a few fights in UFC, and I believe is like 2-1-1 or something like that. Like he's had some pretty good results so far. Okay. So I'm excited to see what those guys can do out of Tampa. With that being said, do you think we're starting to build some sort of pipeline here, like we see in college football?
A Tampa pipeline?
Not even Tampa. But Florida. Like in football, you have, your powerhouses in Gainesville, you have your Tampa powerhouses, you have your South Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Miami powerhouses. But look at MMA. Tampa is getting there. Miami has
been there.
Has the gym. Like Florida's
becoming a bit of a mecca for
Florida, Texas, California are football, and it seems like for MMA, it's kind of shaping up similar. Texas seems like it could be headed in that direction. I know some gyms are popping up out there, but it's still in its infancy. But it seems like we're starting to see those hotbeds for MMA, really develop. And I think that Florida is establishing right now that, this environment. My theory on football was that when you have to practice in Florida year-round, you're getting a different atmosphere you're training in than everybody else who plays football. Like if you're playing football up north, like you haven't gone through the same thing I've gone through doing all those practices in Florida.
Yeah.
Like it's just a different
adversity
thing we've put our bodies through. But MMA doesn't necessarily have that because it's a controlled environment you're training and fighting in. But Florida does have the atmosphere of lending itself to, the people from Florida are kind of cut from that cloth that seems like it could lend to being a good fighter. Certain countries produce good fighters, like those Dagestani countries produce good fighters.
Cuba.
Stateside, it seems like Florida could be one of those environments that breeds good fighters.
Yeah. Well, look at ATT. You have, not just ATT, but look at Florida. You have Usman, Burns. You have, doesn't Michael Johnson train?
Michael Johnson, yeah.
You have, obviously, Masvidal, Romero. And then it's not just the UFC, but guys who are boxing, guys who are in other divisions.
And the greatest of all time, Amanda Nunes.
Right.
Like, we have legit champions.
Yeah, Florida. You put Florida against anybody else, man. Like, in just a gauntlet of fighters all throughout and top to bottom, I think Florida matches up with any state in terms of fighting. And like what you were saying about the difference in weather, it applies to fighters too. These guys are doing sprints outside. These guys are running hills. Like they have to do that in 85% humidity, 90% humidity. Over in other places where you're breathing easy, it's easy.
Right.
I'd like to see, I'm not saying they couldn't, but it'd be interesting to see how guys like the Diaz brothers, who have excellent cardio, but they train in California. That's the beautiful weather.
Yeah.
Like do that in South Florida.
I always wondered.
I'm not saying they can't. I'm not talking crap. I'm saying,
yeah.
I'm saying imagine guys that may not have the famed cardio, but it's like in college football. Guys from Miami and Broward who are 3 stars, they're 4 stars anywhere else. Or 4 stars, they're 5 stars anywhere else. But they play in Miami and Broward.
So it's hard to look like a 5-star.
Yeah, there's too many. So imagine in the fight world, that's why a lot of those guys are slept on, is because really they're competing with some of the best athletes who are also training under the most adverse conditions.
And like the amateur scene around here, there's like, you know, there's a big amateur scene growing in Florida on this coast and on the east coast of Florida. I fought in both amateur scenes. And you know, both of them are growing. The East Coast, it's really hard to say which is better. I feel like the Tampa scene is a little more advanced. I think that we have more over here. I haven't fought down in Miami, but it appears that the amateur scenes are just growing as well, and we're getting, you know, some. Florida isn't known for its wrestling, but, you know, we're getting legit wrestlers, legit jiu-jitsu guys, legit strikers, you know, like people entering into that MMA scene, even at the amateur level. And Florida seems to be just like, the level just seems to be rising. The amateur level seems to not even be that amateur, you know, like there seems to be some high level MMA going on, and the level just seems to be rising, you know, that tide is rising and bringing all ships with it.
It's awesome.
And, you know, and now that we have, you know, these guys, you know, hopefully we're rooting for them, like Billy and Matt at GTS, Gracie Tampa South. You know, we have those high level guys now, you know, at the big show, you know, like
paving the way.
Right. And not just like, you know, it didn't feel like Florida was a pipeline state yet, because all we really had was like ATT and stuff. But ATT isn't Florida. Yeah. ATT is like a melting pot. Like Amanda Nunes, we can't claim, you know, like she's Brazilian made, you know, a lot of these guys and girls down there are from around the world.
But because they're so good, they're creating the pipeline because they're growing all those skills.
Right, exactly. You know, my coach is from Brazil, but now that seed has been planted here, you know, and look, he's made me, you know, and now, it's very interesting.
There's a lot of good jiu-jitsu schools in Florida. I mean, there's a lot. Wrestling is really the only one where it's like
we're not known for it.
No, because
we're known for our ball sports because we just have that outdoor.
But boxing and like specifically South Florida, like you have Olympians coming out of there. So like the fighting game is like in Florida is well represented, and I feel like it can only increase. And you know, Billy Q and Matt are gonna you know, extend that legacy and maybe even create some trails for people behind
definitely them. Just like Lando did, you know, training with Lando was eye-opening for me. It's like, damn, here's a kid who went to school right down the street from me, you know, like whatever. He wasn't even like too known as an athlete locally and whatnot, but was still able to go on and make it to the UFC, have success at the UFC. And it's like, wow, okay, that makes makes it even more like the vision even more doable for guys like me, you know? So it's like, I just wanted to pay a little homage to those guys who have, you know, who are a few steps ahead on the path at this point in time, you know, and the people coming up, you know, Florida appears to be, you know, like a real breeding ground now, so to speak, for MMA, and just like actually have roots in the fight game, not just be a place for fighters to come train at a super gym. Like we're actually like building organic, you know, Gracie Tampa South, those are all guys who went from nobodies to UFC. You know, like it's not like they're coming from boxing or wrestling and they made it to the UFC after they joined with ATT. Like, no, those are guys who just trained at a Gracie affiliate in Tampa and now have made it, you know. That's awesome. It's amazing to see. Good luck to those guys coming up this weekend. You know, but let's
we got next fight
quickly move on. Yeah, well, I wanted to touch on one more thing, and that is Izzy and company are having some issues over there in New Zealand.
Oh, no.
There's word coming out that New Zealand is, like, closing down their travel and whatnot.
Again?
Yeah, and they're just getting real strict, which they had, like, one of the most strict quarantines and procedures to this early on. So it's like, hold up, like, I thought you, like, they were bragging, like, oh, nobody's got COVID in New Zealand. It's like, but now you guys are closing your borders again. But, yeah, supposedly Eugene Behrman, their coach at City Kickboxing, was just saying they might be, the UFC just reached out and notified them of, like, this potential border closing and was like, hey, we might need to get you and the boys over here to Vegas because you could just finish your camp out here in Vegas. And then Vegas is already, like, one of UFC's safe zones. They have, like, 5 safe zones around the world where they have, like, if you go to one of those safe zones, they get you a chartered flight with only UFC and, like, safe tested people from said safe zone to Fight Island. Yeah. So, like, Vegas is one of those safe zones. So they're saying, like, City Kickboxing guys need to
they better
make that transition.
They freaking better, because I don't want to miss that fight.
Yeah, we cannot lose that stacked card with, because there's like 4 City Kickboxing guys on that card, you know, like other than the Reyes versus Jan Blachowicz fight, that card is like the City Kickboxing show. Yeah. So it's like Reyes and Jan are not going to carry that card for us, you know, they're not going to do it for us. We can't go from, you know, not that we lost Stipe versus DC. I don't want to sound like a Stipe hater by saying that. You know, it just, the card wasn't what we wanted.
Let's be honest. We wanted a different type of result. The Sean O'Malley was disappointing.
Right.
The DC fight was disappointing.
I wouldn't have even been disappointed with Stipe winning if the fight had just had a little bit different energy to it. You know, like, it just left a bitter taste in the mouth.
It was anticlimactic. It was like being told about how great a restaurant is, and you go and you're like, you know, I probably am never going to eat here again. Yeah. I don't hate it.
It's that movie that has the cast that is too good to be true, and then you go watch it and you're like, eh.
It's like, this has George Clooney and Will Ferrell. How does that go together?
It's like, wait, not all those stars can be stars at the same time. Right. Like, this isn't going to work, you know? So, yeah, it kind of left you with one of those. But, I mean, I just, you know, praying, fingers crossed, and I hope we get all those fights. Hope we don't get any more disappointments. But moving on, brings us to Fight Corner Roll. I have a terrifying proposition for you. Yeah, you're not going to like this one bit. You've got 3 beasts, demons, demigods, Russian destroyers.
Oh, no.
And then just one Brazilian savage you want nothing to do with. I got Khamzat Chimaev, Khabib Nurmagomedov, and Damian Maia.
None.
That's it? You're turning in the gi?
Yeah.
You're just hanging it up?
Yeah, I'm going to go work at T-Mobile or something.
Yeah. You're going to go download Spotify and ban jiu-jitsu.
I'm cornering. This sucks, man.
Yeah, this is terrible.
Why did you do this?
Because I hate you.
Okay, fair enough. Oh, damn it.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. I'm cornering Khabib because it's Khabib.
Yeah, I was going to make a joke, but I can't.
But then I'm going to have to hang out with Ali.
Yeah,
that's a factor. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
No offense to Ali.
You're going to have to look at his head all day.
I'm not sure we'll get along. But I mean, not in a disrespectful vibe. I don't know. Not going to hang out with Ali, so I'll just stay away from him and just try to hang out with Khabib. Bath time will be interesting. But I'm going to roll with I'm going to roll with Khamzat. Because remember, we're in the gi.
Yeah.
We're in the gi. And he's a wrestler. I might get smashed.
I saw him in the gi the other day. He just got his blue belt.
Oh, so
he just got his blue belt.
We're same level in the gi, at least on the back. So all I gotta do is pull guard and play a lapel game.
That's all you gotta do.
Bro,
you smash.
I'm pulling guard so fast, and I'm feeding all the lapels.
Little lasso, spider guard.
Not one lapel will be left alone on his gi.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find every possible grip, and God, let me not get stuck inside control under him. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and roll with him, and then I'm obviously gonna fight Damian Maia just because of the 3. The one that I feel like would be less scary and suffocating would be Damian Maia.
Yeah.
Even though it's kind of absurd because he's one of the best grapplers.
He's literally the greatest suffocator in UFC history, arguably.
But, well, suffocated in that way.
Yeah.
But not prolonged suffocation.
Right. Like, he's just going to get to that, and that gets, like, that's
awesome.
it. Yeah,
let's end this quickly.
Yeah.
Let's end me quickly.
A little Ben Askren there.
Let's not, yeah, I'm definitely going out.
I got to go watch Ben Askren, or Damian Maia put Ben Askren out again. Just before I give my picks, just to paint a little picture for you, I was at an open mat that day. They fought in like China or something. Ben Askren and Damian Maia. They fought in the morning.
Okay.
So we were at open mat rolling in the gi, and the fight was about to start. So I was like, oh crap, let me go put this fight on. So we all like stopped rolling, and we're all like sitting in the corner of the mats watching Damian Maia versus Ben Askren on my phone, like in the middle of training jiu-jitsu in the gi. So we're all obviously like praying Damian Maia wins to prove that we're not all wasting our time here right now. Like if he would have lost, I literally would have just threw the gi out and put my wrestling shoes on right then and there. Like, all right, who's ready? You know? Yeah. But
we're doing double legs today.
That fight, we're on the mat doing jiu-jitsu, just like praying that we get like that reinforcement from a Damian Maia victory, which, you know, thank the jiu-jitsu gods we received that. All hail Hicks and Gracie, you know.
That's sacrilegious. But
so with that being said, back to my Muslim friends, Khamzat, Khabib, and I don't know what Damian Maia is. But yeah, so fight. This is weird for me because I actually think I'm going to fight one of these guys one day. And, you know, that is Khamzat Chimaev.
Oh my God, Joey.
And I want that fight. Little jiu-jitsu, little heel hook, little pop. What's he got for this right here? That little heel hook right there.
That's true.
What you got, Khamzat?
Yeah, that ACL's getting. Oh shit, he's cocky. He's cocky. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm ready. All
right, I'll be in your corner.
Yeah, that's it. So for you, it should have been a slightly different variation. You should have had the option for the Khamzat. It should have been or me. You know, you should have that caveat.
It's a good point.
Yeah, so you want to corner me instead of or you were cornering Khabib. Either way.
Cornering Khabib.
Okay, so I'm fighting Khamzat because, you know, we're going to have to settle who's pound for pound number one. And, you know, that's the fight. That's it right there.
I can't. What can I say?
That's going to be GSP Khabib of the next generation right there.
Okay.
That's it.
Bro, you're speaking this into existence.
Yeah,
right now, bro.
But it's going to be kind of backwards because it's going to be like if Khabib came before GSP, because I'm like the GSP. You know, I'm not the Khabib of my generation. I'm the GSP.
He's literally the Khabib of his generation.
Yeah, he's literally the Khabib, but now GSP's coming on the back end, so it's like I'm going to be the hybrid who's kind of like everything blended, whereas GSP was that, and now we're going to get to see, you know.
This is great.
Yeah, so me versus Khamzat. With that being said, I don't know if I need to roll with Khabib to get some insight from that, or if I need to corner Khabib to get some insight. Either way, my experience with Khabib in this fight corner roll would definitely help me in my fight with Khamzat. So I'm going to corner Khabib as well. Me and you could corner Khabib. That'll get us prepped for the Khamzat matchup. We'll learn a lot for our camp for Khamzat with our time with Khabib.
100%.
Yeah, and then maybe it'll be you, Khabib, and my coach in my corner. Wow. And, you get 4 cornermen. And I'll bring in GSP's coach, obviously.
Yes.
Walbert Tete Bajos, my coach. You, Faraz Zahabi, and Khabib in my corner.
Unstoppable.
I smash this guy. You know this, brother.
You'll wrestle him.
You know this, brother. I smash. And the Bono's takedown seminar that I just bought online.
Oh, there you go. So you just use all that on him.
Oh my God. Khamzat's getting smashed. And I'm gonna roll with Damian Maia, you know. I'm 4-stripe, you know, I'm gonna get that promotion after I submit Damian Maia. I'm getting my purple belt. So yeah, that's how that's going.
You know what's funny? Here's the funny part about this. I don't doubt you. Okay, I'm always gonna be in your corner. But it is the optics of the fact that you just said, I'm going to smash Hamzat. And then minutes later said, I'm going to get my purple belt. I don't know if you might be the only blue belt in the world who actually believes right now you're going to beat Hamzat.
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible.
Yeah. And Hamzat is a blue belt too.
Bro,
so
you outrank Hamzat.
Oh yeah. You're standing on that side of me in line, Hamzat, like get in line.
Bro,
like,
you don't even need your purple belt to beat him.
I don't even have to look at him or roll with him if I don't want to.
Oh shoot. You're snubbing
yeah.
Hamzat?
Like nah.
Alright. And if he asks you to roll, that's bad etiquette.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't check my stripes.
Yeah, bro, what do you got? You just got that.
Yeah.
Wow, bro.
Yeah. So
this is wild. We're already promoting the fight.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
Oh, it's happening. 1,000%. The day I watched him fight, I knew. So that leads us to our second and final fight corner roll of the evening. Hulk Hogan, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and Stone Cold.
Oh, this is great.
Steve Austin.
All right, you go first. I can't think of it.
All right. So those of you who don't know, I'm the world's biggest Hulk Hogan fan. Hulkamania ran wild through my adolescent years, and yeah, he embodied everything that I wanted to be. He took his vitamins, said his prayers, and had 22-inch pythons, and it's like, what more could a young boy ask for? Like, what? Vitamins, prayers, pythons. Okay.
Me, yeah.
Like, all right. What? That sounds like enlightenment to me.
Yeah.
So, after that, there was really nothing else for me. Hulk Hogan was the holy grail. But The Rock kind of came on and tried to, be the second coming of the king sort of thing. They even had their great battle at WrestleMania, which was so hard for me to watch.
Yeah.
And my uncle went for The Rock just because he knew how much I loved Hogan at 5 years old. So he was hyping up The Rock this whole time. And, I hated it so much when The Rock won. I literally couldn't look at my uncle for weeks. And we just talked about this recently. And he's like, yeah, I was just going for The Rock because I figured they were going to have Hogan win. So I wanted to, have that rivalry with you. And then, Hogan would win. It would all be okay. He's like, but when The Rock won, he's like, I knew that I fucked up because you weren't going to talk to me forever. Wow. And because we lived together at that point. So, yeah.
You really loved Hogan.
Oh, I loved Hogan. That uncle took me to meet Hogan.
No way.
When I was young. Oh, bro, I've been to so many WWE events. I've been to WrestleMania. I got to meet Floyd Mayweather and his family and stuff when Floyd beat the Big Show.
What a great WrestleMania that was.
Oh my God, bro. It was in Miami too.
Yeah.
And Floyd made it rain when he came out with these $23 million bills. And when it rained, I had really good seats. So I ran right over to where the tunnel was and started picking up all these dollar bills off the ground. And I brought them back to elementary school on Monday because all my friends obviously knew I was going to WrestleMania. Right. I was screaming that shit. I'm going to WrestleMania. Everybody knew I was going to WrestleMania. And then I come back and I'm like, you guys remember the main event, Big Show versus Floyd? When it rained, they're like, yeah. And I pull out a wad of the Floyd Mayweather $23 million bills and start selling them in elementary school.
Wow.
Yeah.
You were a hustler.
Yeah. So I sold the Floyd Mayweather dollar bills throughout my elementary school. Yeah, that is crazy.
That's a great story.
Yeah, that's like a YouTuber like Gary Vaynerchuk. He tells a story like that, and people automatically assume he's a financial guru. Right. You're like, oh, I did yard sales or a lemonade stand when I was 5, and they're like, oh my God. Give me all the financial advice possible. Take my money. Gary Vee just makes a vine is like, oh, TikTok's the wave, and people are like, oh my God, this financial advice, I cannot take it. But anyways, back to the picks. So, yeah, I got to be in Hogan's corner because he is, as close to the Messiah on earth as you could get. In a modern day, he the Rapture. I thought the Rapture was coming when Hogan came out of the tunnel. I was like, oh my God, he's back. What is this? God, came back in another body. Like, what is going on? And I was like, oh my God, it's just you, brother. You know, like I was like, oh brother, you got me for a second. I thought you were real big bro. I thought you were JC. Jesus Christ. You know, I was like,
you could not have picked someone that looked less like Jesus. That's the farthest difference I've ever seen. Jesus was probably Middle Eastern. You got Hulk Hogan. That would never confuse you in real life. Oh my gosh.
Oh God. All right.
I'm crying.
So, with that being said,
oh man,
me and Jesus are cornering Hulk Hogan.
You better win.
Brother. Yeah, we better win. We better
Otherwise,
win.
you can't put that on Jesus.
No, or Islam will reign supreme for eternity.
It's all riding on this one.
Oh, goodness. So, I guess, so who do I fight out of that? I definitely can't corner Steve Austin because my liver ain't built for the bruise. No way.
You could just pass him to him, though. Pretend you're taking him. He's eventually not going to even notice what you're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
So, all right. I'm gonna corner Hogan. I'm gonna fight. I feel like you gotta fight The Rock. It's already built. The money is there. He was just there to put the BMF belt on somebody. So it's like, all right, so you're basically saying he's the one who can give the BMF belt. So that makes him the ultimate BMF, if I'm not mistaken.
He's the ultimate.
He's like the absolute BMF.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, if you beat him, that's like, I don't know, that's like being the 145-pound ADCC champion. And then going up and beating
Orlando Sanchez.
Or going and beating Gordon in absolute then after that. You know, you and Gordon both win in your weight classes, then you go up and beat Gordon for the absolute. You know, like The Rock is the absolute in that case. You know, there's gold medalists, but then there's the absolute gold medalist. Right? You know, The Rock, he could give out a medal to Jorge, but he is the medal giver. He's the absolute.
He's the absolute champ.
I'm fighting The Rock. I'm cornering Hogan, and I guess I'm rolling with Steve Austin, which is going to be weird, but it's going to be fun. And pre and post roll is going to be an experience.
Listen, of that group right there, there's only one right answer to the corner, and that's The Rock. You get to hang out with The Rock. I don't have to say anything else. Fighting.
Oh my God.
I'm fighting Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Okay, thank God. Oh my God.
I'm fighting Stone Cold Steve.
I thought you were gonna fight Hogan. I was gonna hit you. I was so close.
I can't fight
In
Hogan.
your own home, I was about to attack you.
I can't fight Hogan. You're cornering him.
I know. I almost came unglued, bro. I almost came unglued right there. Oh my God.
I'm glad I was spared. I'm glad I made the right decision.
Yeah, literally, I was about to, I don't even know. I was going to throw something. This almost became table, ladder, chair match.
Thank God. No, yeah. I actually am envisioning it now, and that table, that glass table that they can't see, would have had me through it.
Yeah.
I'm not fighting Hulk Hogan. Don't worry.
Thank you. Oh my God.
But I am smashing him in the gi. Out of respect. Yeah, I'm definitely fighting Stone Cold because you get, I think, just as big of a pay-per-view as The Rock, because I think he's still super popular, and we're probably in the similar weight class compared to me and The Rock. I'm not fighting The Rock. He's too big. We'll never fight. We're in different weight classes. They don't do weight class. I can probably eat or cut to whatever weight Stone Cold is right now. And then I have to roll with Hulk Hogan. And I'm sorry, but I have to smash your hero. I have to.
Yeah.
I have to. But don't worry, I'm not gonna put him to sleep. I will let go of the choke even if he doesn't tap.
Thank you,
out of respect.
Yes. All right, this has been a very emotional episode for me.
Clearly.
You know, this has been a lot on me. So, thank you for not turning your back on me.
Never.
You know, like I realize a few sides of me that might not have been shown to the disciples yet came out. And, you know, I just, you know, I'm glad we weathered this storm.
We did. This was important for our friendship.
Yeah, this was...
We needed this.
Therapeutic. You know, I feel if we're going to be anything more than friends, we needed this to go well.
I agree. I think, I think you don't take the next step until you master the step you're in.
Right.
And so now I think we're ready to take that next step.
Yeah.
We'll have a big announcement next week.
Big announcement.
And my final words are simple.
I'm pregnant.